I'm getting ready for one of my favorite holidays in the year, and that is Halloween. Aside from Christmas for me. Halloween is not really annually celebrated here in the Netherlands, but we do get together with friends, and there's a lot of non-cosplayers who dress up in the most awesome costumes, like gory and creepy and stuff. And for this year I'm going to make the nurse from Silent Hill. You may be familiar with the movies or maybe the game, which is actually really cool because it adjusts itself to your playstyle. So if you like creepy games, definitely give Silent Hill a try. And I've already made a first mask, my very first try. I'm pretty excited. And it's really easy to make, like you only need a few things, and I made this with maybe 2 hours of my time and then some time to dry. And I already had a sort of lab coat which I adjusted. So now it has short sleeves and it's a bit thinner because it was crop. So it has more shape now. Yay. And aside from that, you need a little hat. This is actually just cardboard with fabric wrapped around it, and then it's not really even sewn together completely. So, but that's fine, this works. So today I'm going to show you how to make the Silent Hill nurse costume, and especially like the mask, because I already have the coat and the little hat. And you're gonna not apply, but keep it in place with gauze. Plastic gauze, I think. Yes, gauze. Or bandages maybe, I don't know. My English is not always on point, so please correct me when you notice something really weird coming from my mouth. Yeah. Okay, the few things that you need to make the Silent Hill nurse mask is plaster gauze. Really easy, really simple to use. Scissors, so you can cut little lines of the plaster gauze, and you're gonna apply that in layers on the mask and then later to create the details. Well, gauze or bandage or whatever, please correct me. Vaseline to protect your face, because you're actually going to apply the bandages right on your face. And if you wanna like not have a hard time getting it off, definitely use something to smudge up your face. And 𝐒𝐬𝐥𝐿𝐷. Lesson in Dutch. This foil thing is called vershoutfolie. Vershoutfolie. Yes. And you're going to use that to protect your hair with it. And the water you need to activate the cast from plaster gauze. Oh, and if you want to protect not only your face and your hair, but also your surroundings, you can just throw a old blanket or something down to protect your work area, because it may get a little messy. It actually will get a little messy, especially if you're me and just like la 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 la. Pull back my hair, and I'm first gonna apply the Vaseline on my face to make sure the gauze doesn't stick to my skin, and I can just pull it off later. Make sure you apply quite a thick layer, because when I did that one I would just apply the thin layer and it was alright, I got it off, but it took me a little while. Make sure to apply extra on your eyebrows, wenkbrauwen. First step in creating the Silent Hill nurse mask is cutting plastic gauze in pieces. It doesn't need to be very exact, so just go ahead and like a few thicker ones, a few thinner ones, we don't care. There we go, make sure you have quite a few. I used about 1.5 roll for the first one, for the mask, so we're just gonna chop. And now we dip the plaster gauze in the water to activate the cast. And we're just gonna stick it on our face. It can be pretty at random. Just make sure you leave holes for your nose and for your eyes. Be especially careful around the eyes. I'm already starting to look a little creepy, but not for the usual reasons. We're just gonna cover our entire face like this. And eventually you'll also cover the mouth, but then I won't be able to talk anymore, so I'm going to save that for last. And in Holland we call the plaster gauze gipsverband. Gipsverband. Okay, I'm going to put this over my mouth. So enjoy watching and make sure you keep holes for your nose so you still be able to breathe. And when it dries, give it about a minute or 10 or 15 maybe. Then you can start wiggling your face around with just your muscles, your face muscles. And it's going to come loose because of the Vaseline. Okay, here we go. Ah, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna clean my face and then I'm gonna show you how to decorate the mask, which is still looking pretty plain. I'm gonna check if there's another Silent Hill nurse mask that I want to make. Nasty. And this face looks like a butt, so I'm not gonna do the butt face. I'm gonna try and go for that one. Kind of reminds me of a cockroach for some reason. The next step is to decorate the mask. So make sure you have a few long ones too. And we're also running out of gauze, so that's perfect. And there we go. Now we're gonna leave this to dry for at least a day, because it's become rather soggy. As you can see, the nose holes are still there. And I can also pierce them through a little with scissors if they're not open enough. And I can still see through there. This is the mask that I already made, and you can still see a surprising amount through the little holes that you have. I think I have about 2 tiny holes in here, and then I've got this, and that's actually enough to see, and you can really see it, which is good, but this is where the nose holes are under. Okay, so the mask has now dried for over 3 days, and it is completely hard. Okay, I should not tap this too hard because it might break. It's a little flexible, so that means this wasn't properly attached to the mask. I can fix that with a little glue, so that's fine. But we're gonna see what it becomes. Yeah, that's way too much blue. This is too bright. It can be a little smudgy because if you've seen the Silent Hill nurse, she's not too tidy or whatever. You can make it a bit Oh, yeah. I think it's gonna look good. So we're gonna just apply to the mask. It's a little bit more grayish than this mask and also a bit lighter, and that was my aim, so let's just go with it. Time to paint the mask. Starting to look like something. I actually like this color a lot better than my previous mask, so I may paint over this one. This is a little bit too warm, and yeah, I think a more grayish instead of reddish kind of vibe to it is better, like a better match to the Silent Hill game or movie, whichever you're familiar with. Okay, so this should stay well enough for at least a day. And then we're going to do the highlighting and the shading. So I'm gonna look forward to that, and we're gonna use a tiny brush for that, not this one. And if you're curious, the word for... I just used it, oh my god, brush. Sorry, the word for brush in Dutch is kwast. Kwast. Alright, so the mask is completely dry and we are ready to do the shading with black paint and the highlighting with white paint. I'm going to use a bit of a broader brush for the shading because it has thicker lines. And for the highlighting I'm going to use my smallest brush. I actually had to cut a few of the hairs away to make it smaller because for my liking it wasn't small enough. So let's get to it. Make it dry a little bit. See if you have the shade that you want. This is with the shading and without the blending. As you can see, it does not look very believable. So we're going to fix that. At first I'm gonna fix the excessive shading. And after that I'm gonna use my makeup sponge and a bit of foundation to just go over it and just blend and smudge it. I'm gonna use the pitch black anyway. As you can see, we're making some really thin lines here. You use a foundation that matches the color, of course. Use a sponge and start smudging. Try and go only over the surface so you don't take away most of your shadows. And now we're going to make a few tiny traces along the lines on the surface with the white paint. At first it doesn't seem to make much of a difference, but you just follow the highest lines on the mask and apply the white there, and after a while it will all come together. And if you're sitting as close as I am, then yeah, you're gonna see it's paint, but if you're gonna look at it from a distance, maybe like you guys see it, then it'll look more believable. On places on the mask where you think it will catch the most light. And it's usually only on top of lines, so don't go underneath folds with the white. And there you go. This is the mask of the Silent Hill nurse. And now all that's left to do is, of course, let it dry a little, and we're gonna cut away the excess bandage. And there we go. Don't worry if it still sticks out a little bit, because you're gonna use bandage to wrap it around your face to keep it in place. So that won't show. This is my second try. This is my first try for the Silent Hill nurse mask. And I think they both look kind of cool. I think this one looks slightly better because the skin tone in this one is very warm. If you like this tutorial, then please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and look out for my next one. Take care.